Hey guys, it's Terry from The Statement Show. Hey, you want a free audiobook? I'm going to tell you how to do it, okay? You go to thestatementshow.com, click on the Audible link, choose from over 180,000 titles. Zach, 180,000 titles. Now, I know you love some audible.com, right?
Absolutely. Recently, I've gotten another Adam Carolla book. I get him out of sequence, so I think this is the first one he did, but it's called In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks. And it's basically him just going through his whole life, but he narrates it and kind of does a lot of off-the-cuff stuff, and so you're getting a lot more than what's in the book. So, because he likes to just kind of put his own little spin on it, but I'm going to tell you what, I wouldn't do it any other way. It's fantastic for long car rides and for commuters.
Yeah, and anywhere. You can listen anywhere. You know, listen to your books wherever you are. You've got a free app at home, in the car, at the gym, whatever. Look, man, you got 30 days of membership for free. Plus, guess what? You get a book on us to get it started absolutely free. I don't know how much better it could get, to be honest with you. Easy exchange. Just look,
no risk.
Sure, you don't love the book, swap it for free anytime. It's such a great deal. Again, go to thestatementshow.com, click on the affiliates link. You're going to see it sitting right there. Audible.com, click on it, go to it right then and there. Right now, stop what you're doing. Go to thestatementshow.com. Click on the affiliates link, click on audible.com, get yourself a free audiobook. You're going to love it. They got A-list celebrities narrating their favorite stories. Again, 180,000 titles. We're talking about Grammy award-winning audiobooks here. Again, try it for free. 30 days, you still get to keep the audiobook. You don't like it, cancel it out afterwards. But you can't say The Statement Show didn't give you anything in the process.
TheStatementShow.com, the affiliate link, and click Audible. Enjoy the book.
Hi, this is Susan Bennett, and you're listening to me with Zach and Terry on The Statement Show.
From the Night Shift Crew Studios in the D.C. metro area, this is The Statement Show. The lights are on.
I'm Jim Harold from the Paranormal Podcast.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle.
Hi, this is Lillian Garcia from the WWE.
Hello, everybody. It's Tony Todd.
Hi, this is Zach Ward.
Howdy, y'all. This is Michael Hall, Green Beret combat veteran and TV personality. You're listening to The Statement Show with Zach and Terry, so get ready to make a statement.
Welcome back to another edition of The Statement Show. I'm Terry James.
And I'm Zach Chahy, and you are listening to the podcast that fits in no category.
Today's guest is Susan Bennett. You might know her best as the voice of Apple's Siri. However, Susan has done voiceover work for top brands in nearly every industry, including Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Discovery Channel, and Cartoon Network. But today, she gets her biggest job yet. Susan Bennett, welcome to The Statement Show.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
Are you going to be okay for this job interview?
I think so. Wait a second. Let me take a couple deep breaths. Okay, I'm ready.
So why do you think you should be on this show, Susan?
Come on, I have absolutely no idea.
We've seen all the talk shows you've been on, but now you're on our show. So
the pinnacle.
Life, oh man, it's going to be crazy. You know, it was funny because when we were doing a little bit of the prep work for it, was kind of going back and forth, and I looked at a YouTube video, and I saw the TED Talk that you did. I loved it. It was so.
Oh, thanks.
Oh my goodness. But here's the thing. Here's what threw me off, because it was something in there that really just drove me to the point of having to ask you this question. You had said that you were a bit of an introvert, and now, of course, your life is so crazy. And I know, because I can relate, because me too. I'm completely shy and probably sometimes backwards. So, but I couldn't imagine speaking in front of that big of a crowd. So I would imagine that one minute you're not doing it, next minute you're the voice of Siri, and now you're in front of a crowd. That had to be completely insane for you.
Well, the funny thing is, I really didn't have any problem when I started to go on TV shows and everything for interviews, and I did have to work up to the Siri presentation thing because I wasn't nervous about being in front of a lot of people. I was nervous about forgetting what I was going to say. But as far as the introvert thing, I can rise to the occasion. I guess you would say I'm an introvert who's occasionally extroverted, but I can only do the extroverted part for a certain amount of time, and I have to run back into my little cave.
I don't know if you're like myself, but I'm one of those people that I enjoy being at my home, and I really don't need to be outside in front of a bunch of people. But then, like you said, if you have to be, then you can do it. But at the end of the day, you'd rather be at your house with your family, with your pets or whatever. That's how
exactly.
I mean, so when you're up there speaking in front of how many ever it was there at the TED Talk, you weren't nervous at all. That wasn't scary, because I couldn't imagine.
No, being in front of the people wasn't scary at all. In fact, I just did a presentation in Tulsa, and there were about 2,500 people there, and it really wasn't. It was not a problem at all for me. It's just trying to do the best I can. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm one of those people, one of those horrible perfectionist people. and so I can really get myself into a state of, what if? So, if I can just get over that part, being in front of the people isn't the problem. And I'll have to say that, most of the people, 99.9% of the people that I've encountered have been really, really very positive and very supportive. So, it's been a really interesting experience. Certainly one that I never ever expected or aspired to. So it's been kind of a surprise, especially at this stage of my life.
Well, in some ways, I think it would be kind of cool because some people, you say Susan Bennett and they go, I'm not familiar with that name. And then you go, the voice of Siri. Oh, okay. Got you. You're not quite to the point of like, you can walk down the street and people aren't hounding you to the point like a Michael Jordan or a Shaquille O'Neal or something like that.
Exactly. And I hope I never reach that level of fame. I can't imagine having to deal with that really. Just people not, recognizing you everywhere you go. That's got to be tough. Oh. But, no, I'm actually kind of get the best of both worlds really. Because of being the voice of Siri, I've been, able to do a lot of interesting things that I, of course, never would have been able to do if I hadn't, accidentally, become famous like that in that way, as the voice of Siri. And, so I really, it's turned into a wonderful thing, and it's, it's enabled me to do some different things in my life that I totally never expected.
And I'm glad you actually did say the accidentally part, because I know that I'm sure you've told the story 1,000 times, but there's obviously some of our listeners probably haven't heard the story. I have, but could you tell everybody how you accidentally did fall into the Siri thing?
Okay. Well, first of all, I did the recordings of what became Siri in 2005, and I've been in touch with some other original Siri voices, and they had the same experience. I thought that I was basically doing more phone messaging. As a freelance voiceover actor, I do a lot of different types of jobs, radio, TV commercials, narrations, promos, and phone messaging and things like that. And so I thought I was just doing more phone messaging, and then suddenly, 6 years later, I'm this voice, and I'm going, who? What? A fellow voice actor emails me on October 4th, 2011, which is when Siri appeared. And he said, hey, we're playing around with this new iPhone app. Isn't this you? And I went, what? So I went on the Apple site and listened, and it was indeed me, and I just freaked out.
Wow. I just would have figured you were, you have to do all these different phrases, and that you would have known that it was kind of, I figured you already would have known what it was they were planning on doing with it, so. Mm-hmm.
No, it was, the scripts were very, very different from other scripts, and when I was, I worked through a liaison company, that worked with Nuance, which is the biggest text-to-speech company in the world. They do about all the IVR voices. Like just about every GPS system in the world will have bought their voice from Nuance, and that's where the Siri voices came from too. And so, what happened was that, in 2005, it was before technology really took off to the point where we know it today. And so, we kind of got caught in that, that sort of, never land of, we got caught between business as usual and just the speed of the technology. And suddenly we're like, well, wait a minute. Oh, those recordings became this? Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, it was kind of I'd have to say it was very much a time issue.
Of course, everybody knows you as Siri, but, it's kind of one of those things. Do you go out and about when you talk and somebody hears your voice? Do they kind of give you that look like they know who they heard, they can play, they just can't place you? It's like they know the voice, but they don't know where to hear it from?
No, I'll tell you what, that's happened exactly 2 times in 5.5 years.
Really?
And, the first time was, I went to my bank and I was, wanted to talk about my account with a banker, and He goes, gosh, your voice sounds familiar. And I said, you are in the wrong job. Your ears are too good. You need to be in the, recording industry somehow. But mostly people don't hear Siri in my voice because of two main reasons. One is that people don't expect to hear the voice out of context. They don't expect to hear the voice anywhere but their iPhones or some other Apple device. And another thing, too, is when I speak, my voice is sort of up here, but the Siri voice is very much down here. Hello, how are you?
Okay, yeah.
So,
I see the difference.
So, like, when you're sitting in the studio, and I guess let me back that up. How many hours are you in the studio when you're doing these things? That seems like that would take forever.
No, I didn't count them up, but I'll tell you, I read, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these crazy sentences that were created just to get all of the sound combinations in the language. What they did, technicians on computers, after the recordings were done, they would go in and extract sounds, like they would get diphthongs, syllables, sometimes words, and reform, put all these different sounds in new phrases and sentences, and these are what ended up on our digital devices. These became the answers to the questions that you ask Siri and other digital voices. And so it's an extraordinary process. It's called concatenation, which literally means linking things together. And so they were indeed just linking different sounds together that they would extract. So a lot of times people would say things to me like, well, how do you know the answers to all those questions? Or how did you do that? I said, well, no, I just provided the voice. It's the programmers that come up with the answers, and
Sure.
They must have a lot of fun doing that.
I could imagine. That seems like a lot of fun. So now you've got the voice of Siri. You've got that job locked down. What was after that? Was it was McDonald's or Coca-Cola, or what was like one of the bigger ones directly after that? That kind of.
Well, I'll tell you what. Mostly, it took me a really long time to reveal myself as the voice of Siri because I knew it was going to impact my career, and I just wasn't sure how. It very much could have gone, oh, let's get her, she's Siri, or oh, let's not get her, she's Siri, she's everywhere, and
almost like typecasting.
So
yeah.
it really took me a minute to really, because I love what I do, and I didn't want it to affect the amount of work that I was getting. And so consequently, it was a really big decision to make. And I'm glad I did it because it kind of sent me in a different direction. I still do a lot of voiceover work, but mostly, and some of it has to do with the fact that I'm older now and my voice is a little bit lower than it used to be. And I do get hired to do a lot of, oh, we need the Siri voice. Oh, let's get her. Since she is the Siri voice. I can't really think of any big monumental thing that happened after Siri. Siri was pretty much the biggest deal that I've ever done. I'm the voice of Delta Airlines Gates Worldwide. I'm the one that tells you what zone you're in. I'm so sorry, you're in Zone Z, and we will not be seating you today.
Yeah, I heard this one where you were doing like a was it for Macy's, or you were doing like an elf or something? Like you were doing all these voices. You had me dying.
Yeah, for a while I was the on hold voice for Macy's, and they wanted a really high. I mean, they picked this voice. It's like, hi, thank you for calling Macy's. And, you would think, and it was the same voice for Bloomingdale's, and I always thought, I don't know, is that the voice you would want for what you consider to be sort of an upscale?
Right. It sounded more like American Eagle or Abercrombie or something.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, but I can do a lot of different voices, and that's one of my favorite things. I think one of my absolute favorite jobs ever was to be the singing chicken for Zeneca Agricultural Products. And it just doesn't get better than that.
The singing chicken.
A singing chicken.
Oh my,
yeah.
Okay.
So I see the Cartoon Network listed. Do you do any voiceover for cartoons, or is it more?
Well, I keep trying. I've done a couple of things for them, but I did a lot of singing for them. A couple of years ago, I sang for Adult Swim and Futurama, and that was a lot of fun.
Because I was just figured you'd be a natural to do voiceover work in cartoons as far as being in animation.
Yeah, I would love to do that, but I think it's a pretty closed shop for the really big stuff. First of all, they do tend to hire a lot of celebrities to do that work. But also there's just this group of amazingly talented people in Los Angeles, people that do a lot of work on The Simpsons and things like that. And that group of voices, they are so incredibly talented and so diverse. I mean, they can do so many different voices. Frank Azaria, people like that. So it's a tough business to break into. And so I don't know that that's on the cards for me, but I'm happy really doing whatever work I get because I just love it. So I'm very fortunate that way.
I'm assuming there's an iPhone in your hand. You use the iPhone, right?
I do use the iPhone, but I do not talk to that wench Siri. The very first time I ever spoke to her, I said, "Hey Siri, what are you doing?" And she very disgustedly said, "I'm talking to you."
Yeah, I just see people hear
a lot of subliminal messages in that voice.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you did this voiceover work back in 2005 originally, and I understand, Steve Jobs passed away in 2011. Did you ever get a chance to meet him, or?
I did not, and I'm really sad about that because from what I understand, he was very, very involved in the development of Siri. And, one of the things I talk about in my presentation is the fact that I have no idea how, when, or why my voice was selected. And it could have been by Steve Jobs. I mean, I don't know. Apple is not very forthcoming with any kind of information like that. They like to keep all their techie info as close to the vest as possible.
Oh, rightly so.
But he was very, very involved. And in fact, he put a couple of his favorite comedy pieces and humor into the Siri app. And little sort of Easter eggs that if you know about him, you can check them out. One of them is if you ask Siri the meaning of life, a lot of times, I think she has more than one answer, but a lot of times she'll say 42, which seems to have no, it's very confusing and nonsensical, but it's a reference to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And if you're not familiar with that, it started off with a book written by Douglas Adams, and it became a very popular BBC television show and then a movie. And I think it's kind of a culty kind of thing, but apparently Steve Jobs liked it because he put it into the Siri app.
Okay. I would have figured him more for Doctor Who, but yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So you met Steve Wozniak though, right?
I did. He's a wonderful person. Yeah, he's a great guy, and what most people don't realize, I mean, Steve Jobs got all the people know who Steve Jobs is. A lot of people don't know who Steve Wozniak is, and Steve Wozniak is the one who actually built the original Apple computer. So he's the techie genius behind the whole thing. And he's also a very, very nice man and also does a lot for education. I ran into him at a tech conference a couple of years ago, and he was just surrounded by people, and he just patiently sat and talked to all those students, who wanted to know, how can I do this? How can I do that? And he's a great guy, really great guy.
Oh yeah. So he always seemed like he's one of my tech heroes. And that's the irony is I'm not an iPhone user. I don't use Apple. I don't use Apple products at all. My wife is a big iPhone person, and I can see the draw. I'm actually more Android, nemesis, I guess, but a Windows person. So, but I'm a techie too.
Right. It seems like you're one or the other. Somehow we got into the Apple stuff years and years ago, and I mean, our whole house is full of Apple products, so I guess it made sense that I ended up being the voice.
Yeah, you're in that whole ecosystem. Yeah, absolutely. So
now, at this point in your career, with all your accomplishments, all the companies that you've worked with, do you have this fantasy job that you're looking at right now? Is there just this one company that you really wish you could work for?
Well, I got to tell you, I just feel incredibly fortunate to be able to do the work that I do, and I love every aspect of my job. So what I would like to do more of is more of these speaker events. So anybody listening to the show, Siri's for sale. You can book Siri and have her come and tell you all about how she was created and all that stuff.
So, so can Google book you to try to make you the voice of, I don't know, their Pixel?
Well, I think they already have another voice. I think they have their own voice. There are a lot of great voices out there.
Oh, absolutely.
I like the Google voice. I like the Google voice.
Yeah. So I guess the only other question that I have, and I've been thinking about this for a little while now, is there was an episode of The Big Bang Theory where where Koothrappali had an affection with the voice of his iPhone and was buying cases for it. Were you involved with that? Was that you on the show? No.
So many people have told me about it. I really need to look it up and see the episode. I haven't seen it, but there have been a lot of Siri related things, and it's kind of a weird thing. Sometimes they use my voice, and sometimes they use a different voice, and it's a very confusing thing. But any of the early stuff was, I was not a part of. If you see anything in the last couple of years or hear the Siri voice, that's usually me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I do want to mention to all our listeners that you can find Susan's website at susanbennett.com and Twitter.
Susan E. Bennett.
Oh, Susan E. Bennett. Ah, yes.
I wish I had never picked that because everyone forgets the C, but just remember, I'm a big cat, and I love cats.
Susan, Big Cat, C, Bennett.com.
Yeah, Susan, Big Cat Bennett.
Well, here's the funny part, though. If you Google Susan Bennett, it takes you right to her website. So you really can't mess that up. So
right.
Oh, I love it.
The voice
Even
of
though
Siri.
there are about 1 trillion Susan Bennetts in the world, just try to find me on Skype.
But you're the first. Exactly. You're the first one that pops up in Google, though, for the Siri voice. Go figure.
Beautiful.
And if you can find her on Twitter at Seriously Susan. So
right, SIRI, seriously,
and of course,
yuck.
And the best part is
wink.
you can Google all that and it comes right up. I mean, and that's the best part about Twitter. So you can get on there and say hi to your favorite celebrities, and you'd be surprised how many people actually engage with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'll have to say that I'm kind of a lazy social media person, and my son takes care of a lot of it. I've kind of experimented with different things when I've had something that I've wanted to advertise, or if a friend does something, I'll say, I'll tweet it for you because I've got quite a few followers. And I find that I look back and see what the reactions are, and I'll have to say that my cat wins out over everything else.
That is true.
He gets thousands of likes.
I saw that picture of him on the scale at the vet. That was classic.
Isn't that great?
Okay.
My favorite one, I think, was the one a little bit later than that, where he's you know how cats love to sit or lie down on stuff that it looks so uncomfortable, first of all, but then it's usually something that you want to get at. And he was just plopped right in the middle of a script I was trying to do.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah. So let me ask you this. I mean, I don't want to hold you too long here because you've been gracious with your time, and we definitely appreciate that. But people obviously see you traveling. They see you in the studio, 1 billion hours doing what you do. But what do you do when you're not doing those things? I mean, do you like cooking or dancing or obviously taking pictures of your cats?
Well, I love Zumba. And my husband is a guitar player, and we've been singing and playing together for many years. So I love music. I have a source of music in just about every single room in my house. And so I listen to music a lot. I play music a lot. And I do like to dance, but my husband's not a dancer, so I don't get much chance to do that. And I'm an avid reader. I love to read. And, so, it's not that exciting in existence, but it suits me. It suits the introvert.
I know.
That's okay.
Well, yeah.
Believe me, you're talking to about the 2 biggest nerds on the planet right here. So no, but Susan, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You have been fantastic with your time. We greatly appreciate it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love talking to you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. You're fantastic. And again, keep it up, and we wish you nothing but success, Susan.
Thank you. Same to you guys.
You have
a great day.
Good night.
You too.
Man, when she started doing that voice, I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, wait. She dropped the whole Siri thing. Now, you notice how she takes her tone down.
Right.
And it just comes off really, really well. I mean,
well, we only had 15, 20 minutes with her, and but one of those things, I could probably had 15 more questions for her. But the thing was that when she was talking about her standing up there in front of everyone talking, I remember about 10 or 15 years ago, my grandfather passed away, and my grandmother wanted me to get up in front of everyone and say a few words. And I can remember being absolutely knock-kneed. I was so scared. I couldn't imagine standing up there in front of, 5,000-10,000 people and putting on this show that she did. I mean, if you haven't seen the TED Talk, go to YouTube, Susan Bennett TED Talk. She's so terrific. She just commands an audience. I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it.
That's what's on her website, the front page of her website, I believe, the TED Talk.
Could be.
Or where she gets up and does a speaking, one of her speaking engagements. She's amazing. And I would tell you, if you're looking for a speaker like that, she's definitely the person to check out. And you can,
Absolutely.
She's readily available. Go to her website. And that is, again, Susan C, as in cat, C, Bennett.com. And you can find her on Twitter at Seriously Susan. And most importantly, if you look up Susan Bennett at Google, and you can even throw in there the voice of Siri, it'll pull up her website and all of her information. She's easily reachable, and she was more than gracious with her time. And right now, I want to take the time to tell everybody we appreciate anybody who follows us, but we would really appreciate a little support for the show. And you can do that by going to audibletrial.com/the statement. Or you can go to our website, and by the way, go there anyway and check out our past shows, but you can go to thestatementshow.com. That's thestatementshow.com. Click the affiliate link. You can click on the Audible link from there, and you get a free book. You can keep it. You can cancel the membership, and you get to keep the book either way. But they have 180,000 titles to look for. I was just perusing through Audible the other day looking for my new book, and I'm going to tell you what, there were so many options I couldn't, pinpoint one down. But I'm going to tell you right now, there was a book that I listened to called, Console Wars, and it's about the whole Sega Nintendo battle when they first were coming out and how they developed Sega and Nintendo. And since that was the area that I grew up in, I found it particularly interesting. But I mean, that's 20 hours and 41 minutes long. It's almost 21 hours long. I mean, yeah. So obviously that's, a lot of, I have a long commute that I do every day, and so I do about an hour commute every day. So that's perfect. Yep. Perfect for commuting. And that's what I want to tell everybody. Audible's perfect for commuting. Obviously, you want to listen to our show first, but this is a good way to go too. So, I'm a big fan of Adam Carolla and his podcast, and of course his Audible book. No, not Taco Bell material. And then in 50 years, we'll all be chicks. That's two of his books that I have that I really like. He has some other ones out there, but I'm kind of keeping myself diverse. I've also got Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger story, tough, life advice from a fat, lazy slob who did good. That's Kevin Smith's audiobook. And of course, How to Be Like Walt, Capturing the Disney Magic of Everyday Life. Those are the books that I have right now and that I really enjoy. And you can find pretty much anything. And a lot of these books are written by the author. So,
correct.
I know. I just wanted to give everybody a chance. So there's over 180,000 titles to pick from. And again, that's audibletrial.com/the statement. So, you can go to our website, thestatementshow.com. If you have any questions for us, hit the contact page. You can also get our affiliates and help support the show. We're working on a donation button for the website right now. We're a little behind on that because, we have a lot more guests coming on, and we'd love to be able to bring even more out there and get our name out there even more. And the more you help support us, the more we can do that. So, Terry, won't you tell them where they can find us on our, other social sites?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to our website at thestatementshow.com. You can find us on Twitter at Statement Show. Sorry, Twitter at Statement Show. I'm trying to remember all these, Zach, because it's like, Facebook is the state. We got so many different ones.
It's just see, if you go to our website on the front page, there's links to all Twitter, Instagram. So the best way to do it is just go to our website, thestatementshow.com. But while we're on iTunes, The Statement, and go subscribe. That really helps out the show a lot. If you go subscribe and then you click and leave a review, we'd really appreciate it. Of course, I'd like a good review. So let's say a good review.
Yeah, no bad reviews.
So so obviously this was it was fantastic to have Susan Bennett on. You can listen to some of her past shows. Krista Joya, she had a big cyber stalking case that is going to be made public soon, and we have her interview on there. Really, really great. We've got Tony Todd, who played Kern in Star Trek for Worf's brother, Klingon. Also,
Candyman, Final Destination.
He was in Platoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the, like, if you see his face, you know, sometimes you hear a name, you're like, I'm not really sure. Cause you remember people like Brad Pitt. But Tony Todd is all of his performances that I've seen him in are very memorable. And I think he does a great job. And he talked about the theater performance he did with the one he just came off of, what was that, Sunset Baby. So to be perfectly honest with you, after listening to that, it made me want to go see a theater production. I'd like to see, some of these guys I'd really, really like to see. And, some of the guests I'd like to get on, we're working on. I would really like to get David Tennant on, the original, one of the Doctor Who's, I think he was number 2 on the revamped version. I know that's not the exact number, but I'm a big fan of Doctor Who. I actually like the first one that, you know, when they revamped, but David Tennant is probably my favorite. I think he did an excellent performance, and I'd really like to get him on the show. So that's somebody I'd like to work on, and we're working on some new and exciting guests. So, well,
that's not easy. You know, I mean, if there's anybody out there that's listening to us that has said, you know, I'd like to start myself a podcast and interview people, I can assure you, getting people to come on your show is hard work. It's time consuming.
But
you're going to put out probably 20 emails and get about maybe 2 responses of people saying yes or maybe or something to
absolutely. It's not easy.
It's a grind. It is a grind. I can assure you.
And trying to keep up with the social media sites and
oh my goodness.
You know, this is not a full-time gig for me and Terry. We don't do this full-time. So we both work. Very few podcasters out there actually have do this full-time. And but, you know, I have great respect for the ones that do. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the guys I got to interview, Jim Harold of the Paranormal Podcast. I'm a big paranormal fan. And whether you believe or don't believe, this guy's podcast is out of this world. And I'm going to tell you, if you've got some of these big channels coming out that having groups of podcasts, and I've listened to some of them. I'm going to tell you right now, the quality is not there. They don't sound great. They talk over each other. The sound is not there. Jim Harold's podcast is refined. It sounds fantastic. He's got his true medium is down. He really, really has passion for the stuff that he talks about.
True.
So,
and a great interview.
Check our interview out with Jim Harold, he's the podcaster for the Paranormal Podcast, and you'll see what I mean. Great sound. And if you're into paranormal at all, his podcast is the gold standard. I'm going to tell you right now, that is the guy to listen to. So, so Adam Carolla, I listen to a lot of tech podcasts with Leo Laporte and This Week in Tech and Windows Weekly, and just kind of keep up with tech. And I'm a tech person to begin with. That's what I do for a living. Also, obviously, I do this as technology as well. And so I enjoy doing this and hope to do this full time at one point. But, you know, everything comes with time. So, and I think all podcasters think they get into this and it's going to be easy, and it's not. It's work. Everything is work. Whether you enjoy it or not, it's just whether you enjoy doing the work. So you have to put your best foot forward. And just keep going.
It's a grind when you only have 2 people that are doing the show and then the editing and then the website and the social media and getting people on the show. It's a lot. And I could see how people would stop doing a podcast because it is a grind. You know,
it absolutely. Like you'll get on there and you'll see some podcasts and you look at the last podcast that came out and it'll say like 24 months is the newest podcast that came out. Right. That obviously they're not doing it anymore,
and for good reasoning at times. You know, I mean, it's a lot of work
to try to schedule people, to get them on, to convince them that your show is worth coming on. I mean, I obviously I find what we do very entertaining, and you know, it's a work in progress. And anything time somebody wants to send an email in and tell us, there again, thestatementshow.com contact page, and send us an email. But any suggestions that you could throw our way, we'd be more than happy. We're cultivating the show and interviewing people, and some interviews are an hour long, some are going to be 15 minutes long, and then we're going to add our own content. But it's a work in progress, and I think it always will be. We'll always be adding and deleting and redoing, and that's part of the fun of it. So, but one thing we've tried to do is stay away from the whole politics. Now, politics and religion, because I'm going to tell you right now, you talk politics and religion, you don't win. Nobody agrees, and everybody has their own view, and you're not going to sway them from that, and that's just how it is.
I mean, I guess if we were looking to drum up some sort of, I don't know, because you know how this works. You add religion or politics into it. Like you said, 50% are going to say, I love your show because you say this. And then the other 50% are going to say, I can't stand the show because you guys don't know what you're talking about. That's the one good part about this podcast, that when Zach and I started, I'll kind of pull back the curtain for a second for you guys. When Zach and I decided, when we decided to start it, we were trying to figure out this sort of, what can we do? What is that niche that we can do that would be, that would be great? Should we get into just food, or should we get into sports, or should we get into, television? And we started realizing that we don't really want just one particular subject. And that's why when you look at our guest list, it's not just sports and it's not just TV. We've had adult film stars. Yeah, we have. And we've had, Golden Globe nominees on there. Fran Drescher. We've had the sports, people like Kurt Angle. We've had
Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle.
Olympic gold medalist, right. So, when we started this, we, like everyone else that got into podcasting, started listening to what other people were saying. And if you listen to what everyone else is saying, they go, you're never going to be able to get any listeners because you don't have that one key element. Well, you know what? We don't have that one key element. We are the podcast that fits in no category. We're not comedy. We're not just interview. We're not just a podcast. We're not just sports. We're everything. And that's the way we want to keep it. And that's the way we will drive this train down this. Now, with all that being said, is there a possibility that at one point we do another podcast that is just one particular? Now, I know Zach, he likes paranormal type things. He likes tech. I like sports. I like so many different things.
And that's not to say that we won't mesh that in.
Sure.
I mean,
there very well may be.
I'm tech peanut butter and he's sports chocolate, and who knows, maybe we'll dip his chocolate in my peanut butter.
I don't know. Wow,
that really came out.
I don't think that's what you were going for at all, Zach.
Terry, will you put your chocolate in my peanut butter?
I would love to put my chocolate in your again.
See, now you're all listening to this thing and your mind's in the gutter. Get it out. I mean, so I love technology, and that's why when she was talking about Apple, there was so many things I could have asked, but when you figure she's the voice, but she's not the inventor of the iPhone. And Steve Wozniak basically invented everything. And I look at, Steve Jobs was a visionary and had the drive, but a lot of the other people did the technical work that you don't get to hear about as often. And I'd like to hear from some of them. I'd love to get Steve Wozniak on. Maybe that's somebody we can try for. But
that'd be
absolutely. But what I really like about Steve, whether you're an Apple lover or not, he donated major amounts of his original wealth that he made from Apple to education and to ballet and to all these different music festivals. And it's like his idea was to give away things and to help better everybody. And I think he was just a very generous person. And I think that's the kind of person that he is. What he does is, and then he puts his opinions out, what's Apple's doing. And I don't think he agrees with everything, but that's what's cool about him. He's not afraid to speak his mind. And that's why I think he'd be a good interview. But the more you guys listen to us and the more subscribers we get, the more push and pull we have. Everybody we've had, I love.
Love them. Yeah.
Ivana Cadaver, I mean, she's been free with her time more than once, and we have an episode of hers coming out soon. And so, I mean, anybody's given their time for this show, I'm very appreciative. But we're going to try to interject some other opinions and have some other people on that aren't celebrities, because that's, I want to do a round table about sports. I'm not a sports guy, but I do have, I do like to watch certain things. I'm a 49ers fan, although I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that now because of the way they played last year.
Yeah, you probably should be.
Not getting into the whole, Kaepernick kneeling down and crap. That's the stuff you hear about all the time. I'm talking about they just had a terrible, terrible season. And it's embarrassing to wear my hat in public, but really? I'm still going to do it.
Embarrassing. Did your team go to the Super Bowl and blow an extremely sizable lead? And
oh my God! What the hell was that all about?
I told you I don't even want to talk.
I have coworkers.
You keep asking me to want to talk about sports. I don't want to talk about. I can't. I'm
going to tell you right now. I'm going to share with everybody. He tweeted or he IM'd me when the Super Bowl was over and said, "I'm done. No more NFL. I'm done. No more I'm not going to watch." I saw that and I was like, "Yeah, that's whatever." Okay, that is never going. That my brother is a sports nut, and I want to have him on to talk to Terry. I'm going to be the not so sports guy. If you want to count professional wrestling, which by the way, I haven't even really watched that much of lately, but that's probably my extent knowledge of, I don't even know a lot about football. I just know that I like the 49ers and always have. And I'm not going to be a bandwagon jumper and just jump on to the team that's doing well. I'll stick with the 49ers in the thick and thin. And that's what a true fan does, regardless of what they know. But yeah, I think, I liked watching. I'm not a big basketball fan, but if I watch basketball, I watch Duke, and I'm not, I don't even watch it all that much. But when I do watch, if I do watch, it's Duke basketball. I really like Duke, and and that's mainly because of my brother and watching it with him and getting involved. And I watched that documentary on Netflix. Everybody Hates Christian Laettner, and I'm gonna tell you what, I would love to get him on and talk to him, but
you're trying desperately for me to get him on.
Oh yeah, Christian Laettner,
right?
Bret the Hitman Hart from wrestling, WWE.
Trying.
It's not easy getting these people on because you have to, either, their time, their schedules are jam packed, and that's understandable. I mean, I get it. So we don't try to take up too much of their time. We don't want to be an hour and a half interview all the time, because we realize some people always they don't want to hear all that. So but that's fine.
It's tough. But in the meantime, you can still go to thestatementshow.com and check out all our past episodes. They're there. There's tons of them there. Twitter @StatementShow, Facebook @TheStatementShow, Instagram @StatementShow. Go there, make your statement, do what you need to do. Tell us how great we are, because we don't want to hear any negativity, because we don't take it very well.
No, well, not at all. I mean, I may not get to sleep right away. It might hold me up another 5 seconds, really. I mean, I might think about it for a couple seconds before I fall asleep. But I'm going to tell you right now, whether you like the show or don't like the show, if you're listening, you're listening. And then guess what?
You're right.
The idea. So if you don't like the show, hey, that means you listened to us, though. And if you send us a crappy email, you listened. And if you leave a bad review, you listened. So
maybe just that once anyway.
Yeah, right. For all we know, we're talking to the mic right now, and nobody will ever hear this. But it doesn't matter, because we get guests on, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's tenacity, and you keep with it. You get great people coming on the show, and they have a lot to share, and I like doing that. So I don't see us stopping in the foreseeable future. So I didn't
know we were going to go for podcast advice today. I didn't know we were doing that.
Hey, what do you know?
Yeah.
We really enjoyed Susan Bennett coming on the show. So we went into our little diatribe there, but expect more of that in the future. But what I want to do is we're going to start interjecting news and just talk about what's going on in the world a little bit, and give you what I consider to be normal guys have to say about what's going on in the world, and our idiotic opinions about, yeah, because I'm going to tell you what, I'm not informed a whole hell of a lot on anything, but I still have an opinion like everybody else, and there's a lot to talk about out there. Yeah, exactly. I like to talk about the whole Brexit deal in England and what it really means, and I like to talk about technology, and we're going to talk about that because that's my area of expertise. But I have a lot of things I'd like to talk about in tech, but we'll keep it generalized and keep it short and firm. And of course, we'll talk about sports and that great Super Bowl we just had.
Yeah, keep it up, Zach. Keep it up, man.
I'm going to tell you what, and anybody wants to send Terry the jersey of the winning team, there you go. So.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, they just found Brady's jersey, so they can't send me that one. So,
did they?
Yeah, they did. They found it. So you got to have to look that one up. That's quite the interesting story.
So we got the Final Four coming up, don't we?
Yeah. Well, my Mountaineers just went out the other night to Gonzaga, so I wasn't very happy.
That tells you how good that tells you right there where I am at sports. I don't even know who the hell's in the Final Four. Where are we at right now, Terry?
We're going into the Elite Eight right now. As of this recording,
can you name them?
The Elite Eight.
I'm going to tell you before anybody really knows, Terry is a hell of a sports guy, and he can't name the 8.
I cannot name the 8 right
some
now
of them
because
though, right?
I have not been paying attention to who's playing tonight, because we came home, grabbed a bite to eat, took the dog for a walk, then we started show prepping, and I have not had one opportunity to sit and watch one game tonight, so I could not tell you. I know Gonzaga won the other night.
What do they call it? The Great 8?
What's it, the Elite 8?
Yeah, they call it the Elite 8.
The Elite 8, yeah. Let's see. Kansas won the other night. Xavier won the other night. So yeah. But I have not seen tonight's group of winners and or losers. So I'm not 100% sure tonight. So I cannot name them all.
Okay, I gotcha. So I mean, I was just trying to figure out where Duke was on the board as of right now, or if they're even
they're out. They're out. They got beat.
How about Purdue?
Purdue, I'm not
looks like Purdue won over Iowa State 80-76. These scores are, that's what throws me, man. These scores are always so freaking close. But it looks like Kansas and Oregon are going to.
Yeah, Kansas. Yeah, Kansas and Oregon won. Yeah, so it's the NCAA. I love the championship games, but as far as watching college sports in general, I can't do it. I watch pro sports. I don't do a lot of college sports. People are probably going to murder me for that one because I get it when people say that they like college sports because they're more into the games. I get that. It's not about the money. I get that. But I don't know. I'm a fan of the pros. College, I love the environment with college. I love college basketball and college football environment over the pros. Because to be honest with you, I watch minimal pro basketball. I mean, it does nothing for me whatsoever. Pro basketball does absolutely nothing for me.
My whole sports, like I said before, is the 49ers. I like some professional wrestling. I was a big fan of Bret the Hitman Hart with the WWE and of course the whole Hart Foundation back in the day. I gotta say, favorite wrestler as of right now would probably be Brock Lesnar, and not a big fan of Goldberg. I have nothing really against him. I just prefer Brock Lesnar. So, cause I just like what they're doing with his character and the fact that he's a legitimate powerhouse. I mean, I like watching him. He's pretty cool to watch. And as far as the women wrestlers, I gotta say Natalya.
Shocker.
Yeah. Well, it's because she's the hottest in my opinion, but also because I really like her style. I think she's fantastic in the ring.
Yeah.
She's a lot like her uncle, and I just think she's very realistic in her performance, and I really like what she does in the ring. So when I do watch wrestling, I do catch her matches from time to time. I think she's probably one of the better women wrestlers, and she should be holding the title right now. And that's kind of where I am as far as the whole, wrestling thing, but paranormal tech.
I can't even think of the last time that I watched wrestling. I really can't. I can't tell you the last time I watched it. Probably when like The Rock and Stone Cold were wrestling.
Oh, the Attitude Era. Yeah, that era.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what. I listen. If you guys ever want to go out and listen to a podcast, for something different, try Steve Austin's podcast. He's got a Steve Austin Unleashed, and then he's got like a G-rated one for the family where he really doesn't do any swearing. I'm going to tell you right now, he's a hell of a podcaster, and he's got a show on TV, and I think it's called the Broken Skull Challenge or something like that. But he also has a ranch. Well, yeah, he's actually got a ranch called the Broken Skull Ranch, where him and another guy get on and he talks about all the trials and tribulations of running a ranch and when they go deer hunting and stuff like that. So I'm gonna tell you right now, he'd be a cool one to get on the show. I'd like to get on the show for everybody to hear. So
he's just real, That's
Absolutely.
what I like about. That's what I like about Steve.
The idea is, and then we're probably going to be coming out with some shows with no guests, and where it's just us, and you're going to have to listen to us and our diatribe. But what I plan on doing is doing like some cell phone reviews, talking about cell phones and maybe diving into the data plans, explaining data plans. We'll talk about some sports because that's Terry's areas of expertise, and then we'll just do some general news talk and go on with what's going on today. But we're also trying to get a lot of like authors on because we like to talk about some of the books that are being written that are coming out, and we're very excited about that. And it's what we're passionate about. So it's only going to get better, but it'll get better when you send us some emails at thestatementshow@gmail.com and go to our website, thestatementshow.com. Click the links on the affiliate page to help support us and help us out a little bit. And maybe sometime we'll be able to get the guest you want to hear. Drop us a line and tell us who you'd like to hear from. And if you think you want to be on the show, then maybe we'll bring you on. You can explain to everybody why you think you should be on the show. But anyway, again, important. Look for us on iTunes, The Statement, and then of course subscribe to us. And you can find us on Facebook at The Statement Show. So you can follow us on Facebook. So anyway, go check out our past shows. And again, that's audibletrial.com/The Statement and get your free audiobook. And Terry, I think we've talked our ears off enough. That's
agreed.
That's another wrap up on the Statement Show. So the lights are out.
See ya.
I may not get to sleep right away. It might hold me up another 5 seconds, really.
The singing chicken.
A singing chicken. I'm not worthy. To see, but just remember, I'm a big cat, and I love cats.
Susan, big cat, see. Thanks for listening to The Statement Show. Visit our website at thestatementshow.com. Check out our upcoming guests. There's plenty more to come. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all on the front page of the website. Again, thestatementshow.com. Go ahead, give us a listen, like us on iTunes, leave a review. Oh yeah, the lights are out.